Oh yeah, good times. Seeing that empty receiver hitch reminds me, mine is empty because my hitch was stolen. Cool times. Yeah, I never really had anything stolen or done anything to any of my vehicles ever, but after moving to Maryland, I have a drop hitch on the back of my Jeep, and it was stoled. I noticed because I was going to go pick up my trailer from getting worked on, and I went to the back of the Jeep to load up a Ronin, and I looked down and I was like, hey, my hitch is missing. And I just stood there staring at it awkwardly for like 20 seconds thinking, okay, first of all, is there any chance I misplaced it? No. It was right there, so I could go pick up the trailer. It's gone, which means at some point it was stolen, either here in the garage where I keep the Jeep, or somewhere else, which is more likely. It was more likely stolen somewhere else. But I was like, well, shoot, it's stolen. And I was like, well, crap, I need to go pick my trailer. And as well as a trailer store, they'll have another drop hitch there, so I can buy that one. That still sucks. So anyway, just seeing that reminded me how that was stolen. Anyway, I kind of like the idea of just doing a straight video today. I don't know why I really feel like it, and part of it's probably prompted by the fact that my secondary camera, I neglected to remove the GoPro mount from the Duke before I dropped it off at the shop, so I can't put the camera there, so we're just going to have this one today, which is too bad because you could be looking at my attractive Venator Mark II helmet that I'm wearing today, and I'm wearing it because it's nice enough. It's 60 degrees. And I don't think I was riding the Ninja last week. I think last week was the Duke, which I dropped off at the shop, and I got a little story about that coming up. But first, let me talk about the Ninja. So, I haven't ridden this Ninja, my baby. I'm actually laughing because of how, I guess, okay, that's cool. That's fine, whatever. That's fine, whatever. It feels so slow now. But anyway, yeah. So, I started riding it, I rode it a few days ago. But for a whole month that I got the Duke, as soon as I got the Duke, I had not ridden this at all. So it was like a month, maybe 3 weeks, I don't know, of breaking the Duke in, which is why I didn't ride this bike, because I just got the Duke, a just brand new bike. I wanted to ride it, and I wanted to break it in and get the miles up as fast as I could. So I never rode this thing. So I got totally used to the Duke, and then I hopped on this, and I remember the very first thing I thought was, whoa, the bike is way out there in front of me. It's so weird because on the Duke, you're like way up here. The bike is below you. I mean, exaggerating a little bit, but there was that. And then, as I started driving, I was like, what's wrong with my Ninja? It's not going. And then I died. Just like that. That was a beautiful reenactment. It wasn't going, and I was like, what's wrong with it? And then I realized, it's just, I was so used to going fast on the Duke, or much faster than this anyway, and then this felt so slow that I thought this thing was broken. And I could still feel that lag now, and man, after riding the Duke, I'm much more aware of how much better and how much worse this bike is. And I don't want to talk about a little bit, the difference between the two. I want to save it for a later day, but I noticed so many differences. But, you know, that's the problem when you drive a really good something and you go downgrade. You're just so aware of the differences and you're spoiled. But this thing is, compared to the Duke, I should say, not like something, but compared to the Duke, it's so laggy, so slow, it's not snappy, it's not responsive, and I had to get used to the balance again, but I'm used to it now. Now this is what I wanted to say about this bike. Alright, here's what I wanted to say, and I forget, and I should say it's number 3. First thing I noticed, the bike was out in front of me. Second thing I noticed is that it's slow, and the third thing I noticed is, ow, my knee really hurts, what's going on? And then I remembered, oh yeah, that was the whole reason for looking for the Super Duke in the first place, because it really, my left knee really bothered for some reason when I ride this bike. I figure I'm just too big and I'm too cramped, which that's the fourth thing I noticed. This bike just feels like a big toy now. It literally feels like a toy. Whereas the Duke, are you trying to get over or what? The Duke feels like a machine, like an engineered machine. I'm gonna let you get over because I am a good little Kansas boy, but I hope you use your turn signal. Okay, well, if no one's gonna get over, then I'm gonna go, because, okay, I couldn't stop, so. Alright, anyway, so I noticed it was like a toy. Now, my knee hurt, and I was remembering, oh yeah, I forgot that's the whole reason I was looking for the Duke in the first place. I wanted to find a bike that doesn't hurt my knee. And fortunately, I can say for the most part, it certainly hasn't eliminated my knee issue, but riding the Duke, my knee hasn't bothered me. But then as soon as I got back on the Ninja, I'm like, ow, my knee. So that's good and bad news. It's good news in that the choice to get the Duke has, at least temporarily and for the most part, alleviated the pain in my knee. The bad news is that means that it hurts to ride this bike, which sucks. Pop! Anyway, so that's what I was going to say about that. There was another thing. I guess there's nothing there I haven't said already. Okay, so now here's the next point. The next point is the reason the bike is in the shop, the Duker, and the reason I'm riding this now is because I had to put miles on it to break it in, which I did. I got to, the break-in period was 640. I got up to 700, and I'll talk more about that later. And while I was at the shop, I was going to do something I wanted to do a while ago, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from showing you the Duke before it was completely done, and that's get the headlight painted, because I was trying to get rid of all the orange on the Duke. I want it black and red like this one. There's some red plastic pieces in the headlight. I didn't have access to anybody who could do that kind of work, so I just put tape over it for a while, like, that'll work for now. It just hides the orange. And so while the bike's in the shop, I had the headlight taken off because I had found a guy who said he could do that because he does headlight work. Shipped it out to him, and I expected that to take a few weeks, at which point the Duke would just continue to sit there waiting for the headlight to come back. Well, last night, the guy at the headlight, he just got it, texted me and said, so he used some big words I wish I had memorized to impress you with. Big words explaining how it's unique and special and sophisticated, and that he cannot do the job because the Duke headlight has some, I remember one term he used is like, it's essentially welding with plastic is one thing that they did, but whatever. So he can't do the work, and he's just going to ship it back. And I was like, well, that's a drag. But it actually wasn't my first thought. The very first thought, I'm not kidding, when he said I'm shipping it back, my first thought was, great, I get the Duke sooner. That was literally my thought, which is kind of a good thing. So I'll explain why in a second, but that kind of means, basically, as far as I can tell, the headlight will never be painted. However, I had a backup plan, and I said, but people don't seem to understand, the tape on the Duke headlight was completely temporary, just to hide the orange. My next plan was wrap it, or put wrap on it, or put, what do you call that? Freaking, why am I messing up my words? Wrap or plastic it. Yeah, something non-permanent that just can temporarily cover it and hide the orange. And so he went ahead and wrapped the outside of it for me, so that should eliminate it. So when I get back, or when I get the headlight back, I'll immediately take it to the shop and have them put it back together, and then I'll have my bike back. And the main reason I want my bike back, and this is really weird that it's the first thing to come to my head, the reason I want my bike back is because I've been planning and waiting and expecting to do a long ride on my Duke from here to Tennessee to visit Maddie at school. And that's, I think it's 8 hours, and I've done a ride like that before. I rode this from Kansas to Colorado, which is, well, 8 hours of road time, or driving time, not even out on the road. We were out there for like 12 hours, but 8 hours. I went 8 hours one way and then 8 hours back the next day. This time I get to do it 8 hours one way, and then I don't have to come 8 hours back the next day. I guess he's just like, okay, I thought for sure he was going forward. It's exactly what it looked like. Anyway, it's going to be much better this time because I'll have the Duke, which is a better bike. I got the stuff, I'm ready. And I was kind of worried that the bike wouldn't get back in time for me to go before she graduates. I want to go visit her. But now I'm going to get the bike back that much sooner, which means I get to do this long trip much sooner. And I totally forget, that's not even the best part about getting the bike back. The bike's finally broken in, which means I can finally drive it over half of the RPM range. I've been kind of babying that bike for like weeks now. When I get that bike back, I really get to let it rip, and I'm excited about it. It's just all the good news. Put it all together, sniff, and that's what you get. Oh my gosh, and I forgot to say this. This should have been the first thing I said when I recorded this video. I should have said it last week. I totally forgot. I hope you've made it to this part of the video, and I hope you live in Kansas, because I forgot to say I'm coming to Kansas tonight, Friday night, tonight. I'm flying to Kansas, and the next day I'm having a mini-meet there. So if you're in Kansas and you want to see me, you totes can on the weekend. So I will put that in the description, the address and time and stuff. Follow my Twitter if you want to know about where I'm going to be and my meetups and stuff. I'm going to be there. I want to come by and visit. So that's the thing. Yeah, I blew it. Now I haven't even mentioned it, except for Twitter, of course. I always mention those things on Twitter, but on YouTube here I haven't mentioned it until literally the day before. So frick! I blew it. Anyway, good news. I'll leave, do some fun things. I think I'm going to make a whatever Wednesday about my trip there. I haven't made one of those in a long time. Talk about some potentially exciting stuff there in Kansas, and then when I get back, I'm going to get the Duke, and it's going to be all good and fun times. Okay, well, sucks that the good weather just got here, 60 degrees, because I'm about to leave. So hopefully when I get back, the weather's good, and hopefully it stays that way, and hopefully I can cruise on on down to Tennessee on my Duker, but I'll save that for later. So thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate you. I hope you have a good day and all the generic salutations. Bye.